These words may seem harmless, but over time they create deeply rooted beliefs that control the way you think, act, and approach challenges. If your inner voice keeps telling you that you are incapable, eventually your actions will reflect that belief, and you'll stay stuck in the same place. The key to overcoming self-doubt is learning to replace those destructive patterns with empowering beliefs. It starts with becoming aware of what you say to yourself every day. Pay attention to your thoughts when you wake up in the morning, when you make a mistake, or when you face something difficult. Do you encourage yourself, or do you criticize yourself? That awareness is the first step to change. Once you identify the negative voice, you can begin to challenge it. Ask yourself, is thought actually true? Often you'll find that your fear and doubt are based on assumptions rather than reality. This is where affirmations and positive self-talk become powerful tools. Instead of feeding your mind with fear, choose to speak words that strengthen you. Start simple. Tell yourself, I am capable, I am learning and growing, and I deserve success. At first, it may feel uncomfortable or even fake, especially if you've been criticizing yourself for years. But over time, the mind begins to adapt to new beliefs. The more you repeat empowering statements, the more you reprogram your subconscious to align with confidence and self-worth. It's also important to surround yourself with environments that reinforce positive beliefs. So if you constantly hear people doubting you or see others giving up on their dreams, those voices will echo in your mind and amplify your own self-doubt. On the other hand, if you engage with people who believe in growth, possibility, and resilience, their energy will influence you to adopt the same mindset. Your thoughts are shaped not only by your own words, but also by the words of those around you. The shift from negative self-talk to empowering beliefs does not happen overnight, but it starts with one decision: to stop letting doubt define who you are. Each time you replace a thought of limitation with one of possibility, you take back control of your life. The mind is like fertile soil. Whatever seeds you plant, it will grow. Plant doubt and you'll harvest fear. Plant belief and you'll harvest confidence, strength, and success. One of the biggest traps people fall into when dealing with fear and self-doubt is waiting to feel ready before taking action. We tell ourselves, I'll start when I'm more confident, or I'll try when I have more experience. But the reality is that this moment of perfect readiness never comes. The mind convinces us that preparation comes first and confidence comes later. But in truth, it's the other way around. Confidence is built through action. Every time you take a step forward, even when you're uncertain, you prove to yourself that you are capable. Without action, fear grows stronger. With action, fear begins to fade. When you stand still, your doubts multiply. You replay what-if scenarios in your head. What if I fail? What if they reject me? Or what if I'm not good enough? These thoughts feed hesitation and paralyze progress. But the moment you take the first step, you interrupt that cycle. Action gives the mind new evidence to focus on. Proof that you are moving forward, that you are trying, that you are capable of handling more than you thought. Even if you make mistakes, you learn, adjust, and grow. That process builds an inner strength that no amount of thinking or planning can ever create. Think about the first time you tried something completely new, whether it was speaking in front of a group, learning a new skill, or stepping into an unfamiliar environment. Chances are you didn't feel ready, your heart raced, your hand shook, and your mind doubted you at every turn. When you stop fearing failure and start embracing it as an opportunity to learn, you open the door to endless possibilities. Life stops being about avoiding mistakes and starts becoming about growth, progress, and transformation. Every failed attempt brings you one step closer to mastery. The only true failure is giving up before you've given yourself the chance to succeed. The people you surround yourself with have a profound influence on how you think, feel, and act. Human beings are naturally shaped by their environment, and whether we realize it or not, our thoughts, beliefs, and habits are heavily impacted by the company we keep. If you constantly spend time around individuals who doubt themselves, complain about life, and settle for mediocrity, you will eventually begin to absorb the same patterns of thinking. It's not because you're weak or easily manipulated, it's because energy is contagious. The mindset, behaviors, and attitudes of those around you slowly seep into your own without you even noticing. That is why choosing your environment wisely is one of the most powerful decisions you can make when overcoming fear and self-doubt. When you are surrounded by negative, fearful, or complacent people, their limitations start to become your limitations. You begin to second-guess your ideas, question your abilities, and adopt their belief that certain things are impossible. Over time, this creates invisible boundaries in your mind, walls that stop you from chasing bigger goals or exploring your true potential. That's why it's essential to evaluate your surroundings carefully. Ask yourself, do the people in my life inspire me or drain me? Do they push me to grow or keep me stuck where I am? If the answer is the latter, it may be time to make a conscious shift toward environments that nurture your growth. Surrounding yourself with growth-oriented people doesn't necessarily mean cutting everyone out of your life, but it does mean being intentional about who you allow to influence your mindset. Look for individuals who challenge you to become better, who encourage you to take risks, and who remind you of your potential when you start doubting yourself. These are the people who believe in possibilities rather than limitations. They see opportunities where others see obstacles and inspire you to adopt the same perspective. When you're around individuals who are passionate, disciplined, and committed to their goals, their energy motivates you to raise your own standards. Their success stories remind you that progress is possible, even when it feels out of reach. You start to believe more in yourself simply by being in an environment where ambition and persistence are the norm. This is why communities, mentorships, and supportive friendships are so powerful. They elevate your thinking and help you see beyond your fears. But it's not just about surrounding yourself with inspiring people. It's also about eliminating toxic influences. If someone constantly criticizes your dreams, belittles your efforts, or feeds your insecurities, their energy directly impacts your self-belief. Fear and doubt thrive in environments where negativity dominates. Protecting your mental space is just as important as protecting your physical space. You don't have to cut everyone out of your life immediately, but you can create healthy boundaries, limit time with people who pull you down, and invest more time in relationships that uplift and support you. Remember, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If those 5 people are fearless, focused, and growth-driven, you will naturally start developing similar qualities. If they're constantly doubting themselves and avoiding challenges, you'll unconsciously adopt that same mindset. Your environment shapes your identity, and your identity shapes your destiny. The journey to overcoming fear and self-doubt is difficult enough without being surrounded by people who reinforce those feelings. But when you choose to spend time with those who inspire confidence, embrace challenges, and believe in constant growth, you create an ecosystem where success becomes inevitable. The right environment doesn't just help you think bigger, it helps you become bigger. You stop seeing fear as a barrier and start viewing it as a stepping stone because the people around you constantly remind you of your potential. Self-discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It is the quiet force that allows you to take consistent action even when your emotions tell you otherwise. Most people think success is about motivation, but motivation is temporary. It comes and goes depending on your mood, circumstances, or energy levels. Discipline, on the other hand, is steady and reliable. It doesn't rely on feelings, it relies on commitment. If you want to overcome fear and self-doubt, you must build unshakable self-discipline because it creates the foundation for confidence, resilience, and lasting change. Fear often becomes stronger when we hesitate or procrastinate. The more we delay taking action, the more room we give our doubts to grow. But when you cultivate discipline, you train yourself to act regardless of fear. You learn to move forward even when your mind whispers, "I'm not ready," or "what if I fail?" Each time you follow through on your commitments, you send a powerful message to your subconscious. I can trust myself. This trust is the root of real confidence. Once you start proving to yourself that you can stick to your goals, fear begins to lose its grip because you have evidence of your own strength. Developing discipline begins with your daily habits. Success is not built on occasional bursts of effort, but on small, consistent actions repeated over time. Waking up early, exercising regularly, reading, meditating, journaling, or practicing gratitude. These seemingly simple habits train your mind to prioritize growth over comfort. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you strengthen your mental muscles and gain control over your life. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's not about doing everything right. It's about showing up for yourself day after day. When you are disciplined, you also learn to silence the inner critic that fuels self-doubt. Most doubts come from a lack of preparation or inconsistency. For example, if you're unprepared for a challenge, your mind will naturally create fear because it senses you're not ready. But when you put in the work consistently, fear transforms into confidence. You no longer rely on guesswork because you've built competence through discipline. You know you've done the work, and that knowledge replaces uncertainty with assurance. Another powerful effect of discipline is that it creates momentum. The hardest part of any journey is the beginning. But once you start and stay consistent, progress becomes addictive. Momentum builds self-belief, and self-belief fuels further action. And through this positive cycle helps you break free from the patterns of fear and hesitation that once held you back. It's also important to remember that discipline doesn't mean forcing yourself into a rigid lifestyle. It's about aligning your actions with your vision. When your goals are deeply connected to your values and purpose, discipline stops feeling like a burden and becomes a form of self-respect. You're no longer doing something because you have to. You're doing it because you've committed to the best version of yourself. Every act of discipline becomes a declaration that you refuse to let fear and doubt control your destiny. Ultimately, self-discipline is freedom. It frees you from the prison of hesitation, excuses, and regret. It frees you from the endless cycle of starting and stopping, doubting and delaying. With discipline, you don't wait for the perfect moment. You create it. You don't hope for confidence. You build it. You don't wait for fear to disappear. You act in spite of it. Over time, your consistent choices shape your identity, shapes your reality, shapes your reality. Fear and self-doubt are not your enemies, they are your guides. They appear whenever you are about to step into a new version of yourself, a place where growth, potential, and transformation exist. Most people interpret these feelings as a sign to stop, but the truth is quite the opposite. They are signals to move forward. When fear rises, it means you are touching the edge of your comfort zone, and that's exactly where change begins. The choice is simple. Stay where you are and let fear control you, or step into uncertainty and let growth define you. The path to overcoming fear and self-doubt is not about eliminating them. It's about learning to act in spite of them. Every time you choose courage over hesitation, you strengthen your belief in yourself. You've learned that accepting fear, changing your self-talk, taking action, embracing failure, surrounding yourself with growth-oriented people, and developing discipline are not just strategies, they are transformations. These principles don't just help you fight fear, they help you rise above it. Over time, the same challenges that once terrified you will become the stepping stones to your greatest achievements. The truth is, your fears will always whisper reasons why you shouldn't try, and your doubts will always question your worth. But they only have power if you listen to them. The moment you decide to stop feeding those voices and start feeding your confidence instead, your life begins to change. You no longer live by limitations. You live by possibilities. Fear becomes smaller, doubt grows weaker, and your sense of self becomes unshakable. This is how you reclaim control of your destiny, by refusing to let temporary emotions decide the course of your life. Remember, the strongest version of you is already within you, waiting to be awakened. You don't need to become someone else. You need to uncover who you've always been beneath the layers of doubt and fear. Every challenge you face is preparing you to step into that power. Every setback, every failure, and every uncomfortable moment is shaping you into a stronger, wiser, and more resilient person. Trust the process and trust yourself. You already have everything it takes to rise above your fears and create the life you desire. From this moment forward, carry one truth with you. Courage is built through action, and confidence is built through consistency. The fears that feel impossible today will seem insignificant tomorrow if you choose to move forward anyway. Believe in your potential, surround yourself with strength, stay disciplined, and never forget that every step beyond fear is a step closer to freedom. Your future is waiting for you, but it will not wait forever. It begins the moment you decide to act. To thank you everyone for being here and sharing this moment with me today. I hope these words have reminded you of the incredible strength that already exists within you. Fear and self-doubt will always try to hold you back. But remember this, you are far stronger than you think, and your potential is far greater than you realize. As you leave today, take with you the courage to take that first step, no matter how small it may seem. Trust yourself, believe in your journey, and never let temporary fear decide your permanent future. The life you dream of is on the other side of action, discipline, and faith in yourself. Thank you once again for your time, your energy, and your presence. I wish you endless strength, unshakable confidence, and the courage to become the best version of yourself. Until we meet again, keep growing, keep striving, and keep rising above your fears. Take care, stay inspired, and goodbye for now.